What's going on, everyone? So Brian Wright talked about how the San Antonio Spurs want to build a defensive identity, right? That particularly when Victor Wembanyama moves to the bench, that they want to be this defensive team. And it makes sense, right? Like, you want to be good on both sides of the basketball. You want to be as chameleon-like as possible. You want to have the balance on both sides of the basketball. Victor Wembanyama makes up for so much. You can get away with so much with Wemby. And it's easy to kind of, even not deliberately, but even just subconsciously, kind of get laxed a little bit defensively because you know Victor Wembanyama is going to clean it up. He's going to take care of it. The ground that he covers is ridiculous, right? It's a luxury that the Spurs have. But what about when he has the night off? What about, come playoff time where things kind of get a little more tight and you need to not just rely on one guy to clean everything up? What happens when he goes to the bench just to get some rest? Right? That's why Brian Wright talked about, in particular, when Wemby goes to the bench, that they want to still be able to hold their own on the defensive side of things. Your offense, I don't care how good you are offensively. There's going to be runs and moments and games where it's just not clicking. For whatever reason or another, you just cannot find the bottom of the net. Well, how do you stay in those games? With your defense. So building that defensive identity makes a ton of sense. Well, one guy that recently became available is Josh Okogie, after the Charlotte Hornets ended up buying him out. And I think he makes a ton of sense for the Spurs, especially with Brian Wright wanting to create this kind of defensive unit, this defensive team. Now, he's 6'4", 6'5", but he has a 7-foot wingspan, a guy that can defend 1 through 3 for you. You can actually slot him at the 3. He's probably the best defensive player available still in free agency. He's 26. He'll be 27 in September, so he's still young enough to be a piece if it works long term. Signing him on a vet minimum contract, you're not signing him on anything major, so it's very low risk, high reward, but gives you kind of a guy with some experience and come in, be that defensive menace for you, be that defensive assignment guy, kind of help slow things down, whether Wemby's on the court or not. I don't hate the idea of bringing in a guy like a Joshua Okogie to kind of fill in some of the holes on the defensive side of things, right? Like Dylan Harper, it's questions about him defensively, right? From Rutgers to now. Not saying he won't figure it out, right? He's a rookie, he's young, but even if he was great in college, you still see guys that take some time to adjust to an NBA level, right? De'Aaron Fox, he can be great at times, but he also has his moments where he's not great. And a lot of that could be just on Sacramento, he had to do everything, so it's hard to be the best defensive player on the court and also have to go give you 27 a night, also have to close games and do, it's tough, right? Stephon Castle. You kind of go down the list. There are guys that, yes, can play defense and potentially be great defensively, but it'd be nice to kind of have that guy that can take the pressure off of some of those guys, right? Be a guy that can be that point of attack, that can be switchable out there, defend 1 through 3, even on some occasions 4s, that just gives you different looks. The question with Joshua Okogie is the shooting, right? He's not been a career great 3-point shooter. However, he is coming off of, not with Charlotte, but with Phoenix, where he did shoot 38% from 3-point range. Now, he did shoot 32% with Charlotte, but with Phoenix, he was much better. He also had a season in which he was 34% from 3-point range. Can he get back, even if it's not 38%, can he be, 36%? Which is, roughly around league average. Last year, I think it was like 36 and some change. So can he be, a 36% 3-point shooter? Again, he's not a guy you're looking to start. He's not a guy you're looking to play 40 minutes a night. He's a guy that you're looking to kind of bring in, be a quality rotation piece that can make the winning plays, impact the game, help you rebound, help you defend, right? Help you, be an off-ball mover and stuff like that. Help you create second chance opportunities through, live ball turnovers or regular turnovers. Kind of be a guy that can give you that defensive front to just be that pest out there, right? Especially, again, if the Spurs really are trying to look to create this defensive team, this defensive stance that is just, can rival any of these other teams. Also, Joshua Okogie is a guy that could help with teams like, the Thunder, especially when they go small. And it's like, it'd be nice to be able to match that and be able to get stops to create. It just gives you another guy to throw at SGA. You run into the Thunder in the first round of the playoffs. You're never going to stop SGA, but you can kind of try to wear him down over the course. So it's like you're throwing Fox at him. Well, you don't want to wear Fox down. Okay, so you're throwing Stephon Castle at him. Okay, there's 2. Okay, well, now you're throwing in Vassell. Now you're throwing in Okogie. Now, Jeremy Sohan, right? You start throwing these different bodies and these different looks at any of those guys. I mean, think of the Western Conference and how many teams have just like a high-end, just guard that it'd be nice to be able to kind of throw guys over the course of a 7-game series, right? So that way you can kind of continue to apply that pressure. He's only one guy. You have 5 that can kind of wear him down. You got to fill your roster spots anyway, and I think you could do worse than Joshua Okogie. I think he's a guy that gives you some stability, some veteranness, right? A guy that, like, you never question his effort, you never question his motor, you never question any of that stuff. He's a guy that can come in, slot, and be that defensive piece for you, hopefully knock down the 3 ball with some level of consistency, right? You don't want to have too many guys that can't shoot, right? But you're already a team that doesn't have great shooting, right? Like, Jeremy Sohan can't shoot. Harrison Barnes, probably your best 3-point shooter. Champagne can be kind of streaky. Wimby can definitely be streaky. De'Aaron Fox is kind of hot and cold at times, right? Stephon Castle wasn't great last year. Dylan Harper wasn't great in college. You kind of go down the list like, okay, where's your shooting coming from? And yes, I understand it's like, okay, so you really want to add another non-shooter, but it's just, you're not going to be able to solve all your shooting woes overnight. Right. So like lean into something that works. And you're not necessarily, I mean, obviously if you can, but there's no expectation to win a championship this year. But I think Okogie can kind of be that guy that maybe sets that defensive tone for you out on the perimeter, kind of gives you guys. Also, if they end up trading a guy like a Vassell or, a Keldon Johnson or anything like that, obviously he's not going to give you the offense, but kind of gives you a guy that can slot into others' positions if you consolidate guys or whatever. Right. So I think regardless how you shake it, he's a guy that can make an impact. But go over the stats real quick between Phoenix and Charlotte. He was better in Phoenix than he was in Charlotte. But overall in the season, 40 games, 7 games started. Played just under 16 minutes per game, 15.6. 5.3 field goal attempts per game on average, 44.3% from the field. He was 45% from 3-point range on 2.3 attempts. He was 51.7% from 2-point range on 3 attempts. He was 52% EFG. He was 74.1% from the free throw line on 2.1 attempts. He was 3 rebounds, an assist, 1.5 steals, half a block, and 7 points per game. So he's a guy that in limited minutes gave 7 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, 1.5 steals, and half a block per game. Every team in the league could use something like that. Question is, does he want to go to a contender or does he want to go to a team like the Spurs where, maybe he can be part of a building block? He can kind of help grow and build this team, kind of be a part of it over the next few years, right? Is he somebody that wants to necessarily try to go win it right now this year and then go sign with maybe one of these contending teams? Or is he fine? Like, hey, I'm young enough to where, hey, why don't I go to a team like the Spurs, kind of continue to grow and build that and kind of put myself in a position to, hey, be like, I helped with this. I mean, look how impactful guys like Alex Caruso were for a team like OKC. I mean, because again, it's just the effort, the hustle, the energy, the reliability. I think a guy like Josh Okogie really helps in that regard. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.